Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the second session of the gardener. And all of us have been introduced to the topic of this lesson. And we have an extensive discussion on the introduction. And an author, the original author, and the translator here, Professor Rangavendra Rao and Mr. P. Lankesh. And we have discussed much on the introductory part, that is the difference between the competition and rivalry, and the factors that motivate human beings to lead their life, motivating factors in human beings, which can boost the life of humans. So that is what we have studied in the previous class. And now, in this second session, and also we have seen the character of an old man here. So it's already been, we have introduced to the central character, or yes, of the gardener, the old man here. And we have seen what sort of man he is. And we have seen the author, the owner of the coconut grove, explained, gave us the nature, character, the complete picture of this old man here. At last he says that he was a laborer, overseer, and a philosopher, all rolled into one. So all these things, so the hard-working nature as a laborer, and with a full of common sense and knowledge as an overseer, and with a knowledge, everything as a philosopher. So he has found these qualities in the old man of this lesson. And now open the page number 60 in your textbook. The second paragraph in this page, after the introduction of the old man by the poet or the author here, the owner of the garden. He came to this garden one day after walking hundreds of miles. The owner of this plantation needed a person exactly like him. A few words were exchanged. The old man stayed on. He was really useful. He was well versed in agriculture and could understand the problems of workers. Yes. So this is the character and the physical features about this old man here. When the author see, the owner of this plantation saw him, that after the old man's a long journey of hundreds of miles, and he just landed, stopped in the plantation of the owner here, and the owner was in search of a suitable worker for his plantation, a gardener for his plantation. And it is the luck of the owner of the plantation to have this man whom he was looking for was exactly like him. So ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, ರೋಗಿ ಬಯಸಿದ್ದು ಅದೇ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಅದೇ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಅಂತ. So that's in the same manner, the owner of the plantation was also looking for the same like this man, and meanwhile he was present in front of him, and after that there was a discussion between these two people and few words were exchanged. The old man stayed there. So here the owner of the plantation might have asked to work in his plantation, to take care of his plantation. Then the old man also was in search of the job or the work. So he too feels happy, and the owner also feels happy to have a worker like this. Then the old man stayed on. So he started his life, staying there in the plantation of the owner here. And he was really useful. Why? He was well versed in agriculture and could understand the problems of other workers. This is what very important. So if you have these kind of cooperation mindedness, cooperative mindedness, adjusting nature to behave normal among the workers, so then he can be a successful gardener there. So all these things were studied, known to the owner. Excuse me. So now what happens here? The petty thefts in the garden came to an end. The income from the garden improved dramatically. There was a perceptible change in the lifestyle of the owner. Is soon after the arrival of the gardener or the old man here. So there was a huge development in his plantation. What sort of development or improvement? The petty thefts in the garden came to an end. So there were robbery. The people used to rob and take things from his garden, agricultural products from his plantation, and they came to an end, stopped completely. The thefts or the robberies in the plantation came to an end, means stopped. The income from the garden improved dramatically. Okay, see, after his arrival, what are the benefits that happened here? After the arrival of the old man, so what are the improvements of changes? Thefts came to end. Thefts, petty thefts, he says. What? Petty means small. Came to end. One thing is, and second one, here itself we can write, the income of the garden, the income from the garden improved dramatically. Income of the garden improved dramatically. See, this is what is required to the owner here. Okay, then there was a perceptible change in the lifestyle of the owner. Perceptible in lifestyle of the owner. And the plantation was expanded. But the owner became lethargic and shied away from hard work. But the owner became lethargic and shied away from hard work. And imagine, these were the changes after the arrival of the old man took place in the life of the owner of the plantation here. See, my dear students, look at these changes, are very important changes, are very profitable changes that occurred in the plantation of the owner after the arrival of the old man. Yes? Okay, just look at the text here. The petty thefts in the garden came to an end. The income from the garden improved dramatically. There was a perceptible change in the lifestyle of the owner. The plantation expanded, but the owner became lethargic and shied away from hard work. Yes, it is A. Then automatically what happened? His wife found all this very strange. When it was noticed by the wife, which one? Perceptible change in the lifestyle of the owner. When she observed herself, this character of her husband being complete change has changed, and the owner became, and her husband became lethargic, means lazy, and he shied away from hard work. Shy means he had a superior complex now, as he is the owner of the plantation. as there is a more profit, the plantation expanded due to the hard work of the old man. Profit raised, improved, thefts ended, everything. So he is superior now. He feels himself as superior. And being an owner of the plantation, how he is going to work in his own field or plantation. It is a shame. It is not correct on the character of or on being a owner of the plantation here. He is rich now, he is comfortable, he has no other work, he has no responsibility on the plantation. He never ever, turn his face towards the plantation. He never gone to plantation after the arrival of the old man here. So by looking at all these changes, and especially the change in his lifestyle and becoming a lazy and shied away from hard work, so automatically the wife of the owner of the plantation felt very strange here. She found it hard to decide whether the old man's arrival was for the better or for the worse. And she was confused. She was in a bewilderment that whether the arrival of the old man is for better or for worse. She was in between these two. When his arrival was for better or for worse. So this is a confusion that she feels when she noticed heavy use, a lot of change in the lifestyle of the owner. So she was fixed herself in this confusion because it commonly happens with everybody. If you see sudden change or the negative changes takes place, then one will be worried by looking at those changes. Isn't it? In the same manner, when she observed her husband's lifestyle after the owner's arrival, so his lifestyle was changed. He never ever used to go to the plantation thereafter and became a lazy person. And also he shied from doing work in the plantation as he is a rich and the owner of the plantation as such. So by looking at all these qualities or changes in the owner, she was in a fix or a confusion that whether the arrival of the old man was for better or for worse. Her husband's wealth and social prestige had risen higher and higher. He acquired a number of friends in the next town and an equal number in his own village. Even though he had precious little to do, his life became crowded with colorful events. She became apprehensive about his adultery and umpteen other vices cultivated lately thanks to his newly acquired clout. Their farm, which was merely 10 acres, had grown beyond their imagination. That was fine, but their life also was gradually getting out of hand. See, this is what happened after the arrival of the old man here. So what do you feel about this? In the initial stages, the owner of the plantation was searching for a man like the old man. And luckily, by chance, he meets or he gets the same person means as how he dreamed of a person to be the gardener in his plantation as such. And he was the exact man whom he was searching for. And because he is strong, knowledgeable, well-versed in agriculture, overseer, philosopher, good laborer, energetic, strong, everything. And moreover, he is a good human being that he can adjust with any person or any worker in the plantation. It is those qualities of the old man attracted by the owner of the plantation, and he was employed as a gardener or a worker in his plantation. But if you see the ultimate changes, the complete changes in the lifestyle of the owner after his arrival, as a wife, she will get confused with all these negative developments, with some of the negative developments with regards to her husband are concerned here, like colorful events. So meanwhile, see what she found it hard to decide whether the old man's arrival was for the better or for the worse. Her husband's wealth and social prestige had risen higher. So the wealth, he became richer, the profit becomes more improved. And the social prestige had risen higher, gone high, social prestige. Why? Because he became rich. Because he used to dress well and roam around the village, in his village, without going to plantation and without working there as a worker. So he stopped all those things. Now he behaves like a superior man here. And dear students, see what changes again took place in the lifestyle of this man. He acquired a number of friends in the next town and an equal number in his own village also. So he started acquiring friends from nearby villages. As he had number of friends in the nearby villages, the same number of friends too he had in his own village. So there were a huge number of followers that he had now, as our today's politicians have. Our politicians have bodyguards, followers, isn't it? All such people to safeguard them. In the same manner, here the owner had followers in his own, friends and followers in his own village as well as in the surrounded villages also. His life became colorful with all these things. Even though he had precious little to do, his life became crowded with colorful events. There was no work for him. He never worked. He stopped working in the plantation. There is no work. He became lazy. Even then, his life became crowded with colorful events. And she became apprehensive. She was worried, fear about his adultery and umpteen other vices cultivated lightly thanks to his newly acquired clout. Yes. See what are the changes in his character. automatically he became a victim to the adultery. Till that day, means before the arrival of the old man, he never had such practices. He never had such character. But now, he practiced adultery and umpteen other vices, other bad characters. So many bad characters, and cultivated late. And thanks to his newly acquired, he was thankful too. See, these were the negative changes, the dangerous aspects in the life of owner of the plantation took place or changed after the arrival here. And by seeing all these negative changes, the bad characters cultivated by her husband, she was worried. And I think you may say that it is for worse. What? The arrival of the old man. From the opinion or point of view of the wife and husband, being a wife of this man, so you may say that the arrival of the old man is for worse. But when you see the point of view of profit and expansion of his plantation, is positively is for better. So both have the same profit here, value here, isn't it? There is no part, any part played wrong, proved wrong with regards to the arrival of the old man here. You never say, you can't say that because he has arrived, the life of the man became colorful, worse, and he cultivated bad habits and straight away became lazy. No. You can't complain on the old man here. You can complain on the owner himself. Why should he behave like that? Being a man or a owner of the plantation, a family man, he should think about these adultery, umpteen other vices as such. Becoming lazy and shying away from work, that too in his own farm or plantation, he feels shy to work. So imagine the changes here and think about it. Read these points. Really they are very important here, and one can note the points also in a shorter way and wherever. So I think I have cut short some words here, parts of speech here in between the lines, so that to make a smaller to write on board here. But while explaining, I have included every part of speech here. Okay, you can copy these things as this so that you can remember very well, and it becomes very easy. And also, okay, this sentence, okay, for better, what is the thing? For worse, and who is. Okay, write down the things. 2 minutes, I will give you 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, write it down. ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಸರ್. Okay, did you copy these points here? Because to avoid the overuse of words, because you will be having a limitation of words to be right in the answers. See, because if you are going to attempt a question, 4-mark question, so you need to answer the question in 80 to 100 words. So if the points exceeds the limitations, because you have to cover all the answer, okay, complete answer you have to write, isn't it? So your answer must contain this limitation and you should read. So in such cases you can reduce some words in between used, okay, to make it a lengthy essay. So you should delete them, remove them, avoid them, but there should not be any harm to the meaning of the sentence there. Okay, see, for example, here the income of the garden improved dramatically. Okay, there was a perceptible change in the lifestyle of the owner. Okay, there is no wrong. Plantation expanded. So here, and the plantation was expanded. Okay, it's a little bit grammatical there. But the owner became lethargic and shied away from hard work. So it is meaningful. There is no mistakes here. So that is why. So to make points, you need not number like this. You should not number in your answers like this. It is for your understanding that I have given as point wise. Don't do this. Don't write this, because it is language. Answers should not be numbered here, because we check out your mistakes in grammar and composition and check your vocabulary or comprehension also. Everything. So we check grammatical mistakes, spelling mistakes, tense or wrong words in wrong places, use, okay, all these things, and punctuation marks, ambiguity, everything we will check. Okay, so that is why we have no such answering in English language. Okay, here to number and explain. Write number and explain. No. Okay, don't write these points like this in the answer. But for your, understanding, I have made like this. So now, and even this, the wife's rule. Wives to wife, better plantation. Improved, isn't it? It was improved a lot. God. So, then the wife of the owner thought that their life was gradually getting out of hand. So she can't control him then. She can't bring him back to the old position, because a lot of changes have been taken place in the lifestyle of her husband here. So hence you can say that, so the life of the woman or the wife of the owner became uncontrollable. When she was in a fix like this, okay, listen, There again, author P. Lankesh introduces a sudden surprise here, like, so the wife of the owner was in worry. She was worried, feared, and in a bewilderment, and in a very sad, bad situation, thinking about her, about the negative changes that took place in her husband. So she was in a very bad mood. And when she was in such a fix, confusion, one day the old man met her and behaved as though he knew all about her plight. He smiled at her and brought down an offering of tender coconut from a nearby tree. He sat on the embankment of the well. She had no alternative, and she sat next to him. The sun was slipping away into the western horizon. His rays were reaching the walls of the well through the foliage of coconut, mango, and jackfruit trees. The old man began his narrative. So, till here, it is one story. And next, there is another story in this story. So, whatever we have read till now, till this paragraph, and in the plantation, when he met the owner's wife there, and it is after that the construction of other story begins here. So that is why we say, or the critics say, there is a story inside. There is another story inside this story. There is a story in the story. There is a story inside this story. And means there are two stories here. So now he narrates the story here. Oh, the old man. He narrates the story hereafter. What is that? See, the story is, the old man began his narrative. He was waiting for the situation to inform the wife here. Why? Because he is a very good human being. He don't want something bad happen to his owner who is feeding him or carrying him or giving a shelter to him by providing the work of a gardener. So he never wants his boss or master or owner to be suffered in his future life. So that is why he was eagerly waiting for this, like this situation. So in order to suggest or give a piece of advice to the wife of the owner, so that the owner, his owner, will change his lifestyle, come to a better and a good path and avoid all those bad habits as such. But for him, it is not possible to change his habits here. Why? Because he is a worker in his plantation. So when an worker, how can a worker guide his master? It is not possible. The owner. So that is why he was waiting for that chance. So, listen how intelligent our writer, the P. Lankesh here is. He says that this arose in a flash. He got, he conceived this story in a flash. He says, suddenly, he just conceived as a flash. Suddenly came into his mind. And then immediately he starts writing it. This is what the author said in the initial stages of the story here. Okay, now, so in this situation, after this, we'll come to know that, as the owner said, that he is a very good person, and he was in search of the same kind of person, and a good human being, a philosopher, overseer, hard worker as such. So he has this quality of honest, good human. He is a very good charactered person here, because he feels rather pity or bad on the changes, the bad or negative changes that were cultivated by his master. And he can, as he said, overseer, he can see that in future or one or the other day he is going to be spoiled. So he is going to suffer from these bad habits as such. So that is why he wanted a change in the life of his owner, and he wanted him to correct himself and come to the a path where it leads to happy life as such. So that is why he was waiting for such a chance. So see that his master, be corrected with his mistakes as such, and it is possible for only for his wife. She can only, make him correct his mistakes. So he thought so and was waiting. And he was happy to meet her in the plantation here. Okay. Happy. Why? Because he wanted the good to happen to his master, the owner here. So that is why he is happy. So my dear students, we will stop here, because it is the right situation or a plot to stop here, because one side of the story is completed here, and also the time is up now. Okay, completed. One part of the story is completed here, and the story, the new story or the second story begins with the narration of the old man here. So you can look at the artistic a style of P. Lancashire, and he said that he never ever tried to elaborate it, as it flashed in his mind within no time. So he just recorded or written as it is, and he never tried to elaborate it, expand it. Why? Because he felt that it may create a kind of bad opinion from the reader's side. He never ever wanted to disappoint the reader here, because he feels interesting here. And the story here ends with the abruptness. Means the story has no proper ending with complete details what happens at the end here. So that is why he said he has written this as it flashed in his mind within a very less time. So that is why he says, or he requests with the readers to cope with him, to adjust with him, to encourage him in this story. So I don't think it's okay to some extent, because the theme, whatever we have, is a good message to everyone. to all the readers, to all the class of people here. Because this day, the current period where the human life, we see it is purely on selfish basis. It is purely on, it says, me, for everything, I. So this kind of selflessness acts are happening too much in our day-to-day life. So that is why he started boasting himself, man, today, that everything, it is because of me, my work. It is because of me. And it is I who created. It is successful because I am there, because it is my work. So everything, if it is bad, so you never ever say that it is because of me. So it is not I, but it is you. He pointed to others in such cases. So that is why the theme and the message that we have in this lesson is to everybody here, to all sorts of age who have aware of the life, who are aware of the life here. So that is why it is important and a good one. So when you take up the theme and the advice, suggestions in the story, whatever he writes here, it is really suits to our culture and practices here. Not only that, it is a human instinct to have all these qualities nowadays, which are too bad for our future or for a happy or a contented life is concerned. Okay, now students, okay, this is time. Thank you, one and all.